The retirement party is the easy part. Somebody brings a cake, somebody says the place will fall apart without you, and Monday morning you wake up with nothing on the calendar. Nobody mentions that 3 clocks started the moment you walked out. One locks your Social Security check for life. One decides whether a bad market year takes shares you never get back, and one is a tax window that quietly closes behind you. Miss all three, and the first 5 years cost you more than the next 20. I'm going to put the 2026 rules on the screen and show you what these 5 years actually decide and what they don't. This is not never spend, and it is not always wait until 70. There's also a fourth bill this year that didn't exist 2 years ago. If you left work before 65, it may be the biggest line in your budget, and it's tied straight to the advice most channels are handing you. I'll get to it. If you already retired last year, stay. The clocks are still running. 2 things, then we work. This channel uses a digital presenter. I am not a licensed advisor, a CFP, or a tax professional. I can't see your tax return, your health, or your spouse's record. Education, not advice for your household. Run your own numbers, or sit with someone licensed to do that. And I'm using the 2026 rules as they sit today. I don't predict Congress, and I don't predict the market. Watch how these 5 years actually go. Friday you retire. Monday you file for Social Security because the check feels like the floor. You take the trip you promised yourself for a decade. You redo the kitchen. And you leave the 401k alone because somebody told you never to rate it. Then a bad year shows up. The statement is down. The roof is still due. So you sell the thing that just fell to pay a bill that didn't fall. That stretch feels like freedom. But it's how a couple locks a smaller check for life, spends their best years like a vacation, and opens a Medicare letter 2 years later over a withdrawal they'd already forgotten. These 5 years are not a warm-up. Clock 1 is the lock. If you were born in 1960 or later, full retirement age is 67. That's Social Security's number, printed on your own statement. Claim at 62 and they cut the check about 30%, permanent, for life. Hold off past 67 and it grows about 8% a year, up to 70, where it stops at 124% of the full amount. Same work record, different month, different check forever. On a $2,000 benefit, near this year's average, that's $1,400 at 62 against $2,480 at 70. About $1,080 a month apart, for life. And if you claim early while still working, 2026 has an earnings test. $24,480, they withhold $1 in benefits for every 2 you go over. Now the part that catches people. If you delay Social Security past 65, you still enroll in Medicare on time. Different office, different clock. Late Part B carries a 10% penalty for every 12-month period you wait, and you pay it for as long as you have Part B. You can wait on Social Security. You cannot casually wait on Medicare. And the first 5 years are when that lock gets flipped, for no reason except that the form was sitting there the week you left work. Clock 2 is the crash years. While you were working, a bad market year was ugly on a statement and nothing more. You had a paycheck and you were still putting money in. The year you retire, the paycheck stops and the withdrawals start, and the pile is the biggest it will ever be. A 20% drop on a big pile is a lot of dollars. That same drop 20 years later on a smaller pile is a smaller hole. Sell into it to pay bills, and those shares are gone. They don't get the recovery. 2 households with the same average return can finish in completely different places. The order of the years did the damage, not the average. I'm not saying the market will crash in year 1. I'm saying year 1 through 5 is when a crash is most expensive because you're taking money out at the same time. Put a number on it. $400,000 in the account, bills need $48,000 this year, and the statement is already down 20%. If that 48 comes out of the thing that just fell, you lock the loss. And yes, 48 out of 400 is heavy. That's what a bridge year looks like before Social Security turns on. It is not a rate you run forever. Cash, a brokerage account you already paid tax on, a pension, a smaller planned withdrawal. That's how households avoid selling the crash. Not forever, for the ugly year, and if the only tap is the 401k in a down year, you claim what you have to claim. That's not failure, that's math. The failure is pretending the first Friday made you immune. Clock 3 is the quiet tax years. The paycheck is gone. For a stretch, Social Security may still be off, and required withdrawals from a 401k or traditional IRA don't start until 73 or 75 if you were born in 1960 or later. Read that twice, because most articles still say 73 flat. Born in 1960 or later, you have until 75. That's a longer quiet window than your neighbor got, and it's the only stretch of cheap tax years some households ever see. Not because I say so, because the IRS isn't forcing a withdrawal yet, and the Social Security check isn't sitting next to it yet, and they get wasted constantly. Claim first, don't touch the 401k, and at 73 or 75 the required withdrawal, the Social Security check and the pension all land in the same year. That's the stack. The IRS doesn't tax Social Security on how big the check is, they tax it on the other income sitting next to it. Married, past $32,000 combined, up to half the benefit is taxable. Past $44,000, up to 85%. Those lines were written decades ago and never indexed. Then Medicare's delayed punch, IRMA, your 2026 premiums look back at your 2024 return. First extra premium line is $109,000 single, $218,000 married filing jointly. Cross it by $1, and Part B stops being the standard $200-$290. It jumps. You don't see that the month you take the withdrawal. You see it in an envelope 2 years later. And now the bill I promised you at the start, because this one is new. If you're under 65 and buying your own health insurance, the enhanced marketplace credits expired at the end of 2025. The old rules came back in January, and under those rules 400% of the poverty line sits around $62,600 for one person, roughly $84,600 for a couple. Earn $1 over and the entire credit disappears. It does not phase down. It disappears. On top of that, benchmark premiums rose about 26% this year, the largest jump in 8 years. A 64-year-old sitting just above the cutoff can pay $11,000 more for the same coverage. So hear what that does to the advice everyone keeps giving. A deliberate 401k withdrawal raises your income for the year. If you're 62 on a marketplace plan, that withdrawal doesn't just cost you tax, it can shove you over the cliff and take the whole subsidy with it. Same withdrawal, 3 different bills, income tax now. An insurance cliff this year if you're under 65, a Medicare surcharge 2 years out if you're over. I did not say drain the 401k, I said take money out on purpose in the low years with the cliff and the surcharge lines in front of you. Not by accident in a panic year, and not all at once next to a brand new Social Security check. This is the part most videos skip. There isn't one first 5 years plan, there are maps. Map 1, you leave at 62 and Medicare is 3 years away. Health insurance is its own bill now. This is the map that changed hardest this year because your income and your premium are welded together, so a withdrawal, a Roth conversion, even a capital gain can cost far more than the tax on it. Claiming Social Security just to cover that premium can lock a 30% cut for a bridge you only needed until 65. If the insurance bill is what breaks the month, you claim. If cash covers it without crossing the line, you might not. And at 65, enroll in Medicare on time, even if Social Security is still off. Quick note, because this fills the comments, everything I'm walking through here is on paper in the claiming order map, the printout I put together to go with these videos. Links in the description if you'd rather hold it than pause a screen. Stay with me though, because Map 3 is the one most of you are living in. Map 2, you leave at 65, 66, 67. Medicare's on, so the cliff isn't your problem. But the lock and the crash years are still live, and your quiet window may be shorter than you think. Born in 1960, 67 to 75 is an 8-year runway. Born in the early 50s, 73 is closer than it feels. Map 3. Both of you around 63, about $400,000 in the 401k, house paid off, no pension, bills around $4,000 a month. The internet will tell you to wait until 70 and never touch the pile. But 63 to 70 is 7 years, and 7 years at $48,000 is $336,000 out of a $400,000 account. That's before a car dies. This is not a bridge to 70, it might be a very good bridge to 67. 4 years, roughly 192,000, and you arrive at full retirement age with no 30% haircut and something still in the account. It needs a cash sleeve, so a bad year in there doesn't force the sale. That's a different life than claiming next Tuesday and spending year 1 like a bonus. Map 4. Widow or widower. Different map, period. Survivor benefits have their own ages, and your own work record is a separate decision on top of that. I won't fake survivor rules in 90 seconds, which is exactly why this one gets its own page. And one thing true of all 4, spending in these years is not a straight line. J.P. Morgan, looking at millions of real checking accounts, found roughly 6 in 10 newly retired households swing 20% or more in annual spending within the first 3 years. Then it settles. The trap is building a 30-year plan on the first summer. The title on this video is a warning, not a law. These 5 years decide more than any later 5 because this is when you lock the check, when a crash costs most, and when the tax window is still open. They do not decide a spouse dying, a nursing home at 82, or a crash in year 12. Claiming first is clean if your health, or the health in your family, makes a long delay a bet you don't want. A check you live to collect beats a larger check you don't. And if the bridge doesn't close, you claim. You are not putting the house on a credit card to protect a theory. And if you claimed last year, you can sometimes withdraw the application within 12 months, one time, and pay the money back. After that, it's mostly baked. Don't spend this video punishing yourself. Spend the crash years and the tax years on what's still in your hands. Take the 4 lines. That's the class. 1. The 3 clocks all start the day you walk out, not the day you file. 2. Born in 1960 or later, 67 is full retirement age and 75 is when withdrawals are forced. That's an 8-year quiet window, and it's the cheapest one you'll get. 3. One withdrawal can cost you 3 ways. Tax now, the insurance cliff this year under 65, the Medicare surcharge 2 years out over 65. 4. If the bridge doesn't close, you claim. That's arithmetic, not failure. And if you keep one sentence out of the last 15 minutes, keep this one. The first 5 years are when you lock the check, sell the crash, or waste the cheap years. If you want this on paper, I made the 2026 claiming order map. 4 one-page printouts, one for each household. Married and neither of you has filed. One of you already filed. Widow or widower, which runs on completely separate rules, and pension plus 401k plus Social Security. Down the side of every one, the 6 age gates that change the rules. 59.5, 62, 65, 67, 70, and 73 or 75 depending on the year you were born. Behind the maps is the rest of it. Every 2026 figure with the publication it came from. The bridge test, so you can work out how many months of delay you can actually afford before you decide anything. The withdrawal order. The IRMA look-back planner, so you see that Medicare bill 2 years before it lands. And the health insurance cliff, worked through properly, because that's the one that changed this year. $37, link in the description. It's a map, not a personalized plan, and it is not advice. If this kept you from treating next Friday like the finish line, send it to whoever in your house files the paperwork. They're the one who'll be holding the pen. Next one is what 59.5 actually unlocks, and the trap hiding in it. I'll keep sitting at this table and putting the rules on the screen so you can screenshot them. You do the decision, I'll do the homework. Subscribe. Map in the description, not financial advice.